This house has remained unchanged since the 1920s. Welcome to Mr. Straw's house, an Edwardian property owned by Mr. Straw and his wife, Florence. They moved into the property in 1923 and since then it has pretty much remained unchanged, starting with a gorgeous front garden facing the apple orchard that the family also purchased. Heading through the gorgeous ornate front door of Endcliffe Villa, the dining room is on your right. Upon their marriage in 1896, Florence moved in with William Sr. above the Straws' shop. The family were grocers and their business grew, and in 1923 they moved to the outskirts of Worksop. They bought many items from their old home, including the carpets, and in this room they are layered as this is much larger than their previous space. But life changed in 1932 when William Sr. passed away unexpectedly, and reminders of the departed were important to the family, which is why William Sr.'s pipes still hang to the left of the fireplace. The room showcases the diversity of the Straws family interests, and each family member had their own hobbies and kept their equipment close at hand in case it was needed, hence the binoculars that you can see by the fireplace. And although the BBC began broadcasting in 1932, just a few years after the invention of the television, it didn't become a popular household item until the 1950s. However, for the Straw family, they preferred older forms of entertainment, like sewing and mending clothes, reading books, and actually talking to each other. Moving along, we have Florence's parlour. This is the room Florence would have used for entertaining and to retire to after dinner. Behind the door is a chiffonier that Florence used to display her ornaments and elegant glassware. Florence was a woman of many talents, from drawing and painting to teaching piano to needlework and more. She didn't make many cosmetic alterations to this room, other than overseeing the addition of French doors to replace the original sash window. And after her death, William Jr. used this space as an office and used the piano as a filing cabinet. After only being in the house for a few moments, I could really feel the memories. It was as though the family had just simply nipped out for a short while, and at any moment they were going to return through that front door and resume their lives. Sorry, I had to film the door from the other side because how beautiful is that? It's literally my dream front door. I was also told by one of the guides that one of these coats has literally remained on that hook since the day that Mr. Straw died. Anyway, moving on to the kitchen, and you may see something in this room that you recognise. Yep, there in the corner is the older version of the cooker that I actually own. I honestly couldn't believe that my cooker was in this house. This was me just earlier in the day getting ready to go to the Straws' house. This is one of the only areas in which the family kept more up to date. Range cookers began as large black-leaded contraptions, developing through to smaller domestic models, as you can see via the freestanding gas cooker on the right. And there was also plenty of vintage tinned goods, which again felt weirdly familiar. And a house like this would have usually been helped by that of a live-in maid, and you can still see the board for the bell system above the door. And then scooting up the stairs, which also feature a stair runner, which I was told by one of the guides is inspired by Egyptian hieroglyphics because Florence was very into her interior design, we find the spare back bedroom. A room mainly set aside for guests, but later became a place to store a whole variety of goods which were probably bought in when the grocer's shop closed in 1962. The photograph you can see there on the chest of drawers is of the parents on a holiday in Scarborough, and as well as artwork, the family took many photographs over their lifetime. Now moving into the indoor bathroom, which would have been a luxury for a house of this age, you can see my dream toilet and also my dream bath. I know it's weird to have a dream toilet, but I've always wanted a proper cistern toilet with a cistern pool chain and also a standalone bath. And then moving along the hallway, we visited the two main bedrooms, but along the way you can see so many antiques, including this beautiful grandfather clock. And this is when I really got a feel for just the scale of this house with its high ceilings and its big windows. I can imagine in its heyday, it really was an impressive home. And although not the master bedroom, this was the parents' bedroom that offered a wonderful view of the garden. And years later, the brothers never stopped caring for the family possessions. And it was in this room that I noticed something else which was incredibly familiar to me. This is when I realised that I sleep in the same type of bed as the Straws. And so a quick shout out to my refurbished bed, which was originally from 1890. That we somehow got on eBay for only £150. And then we find Walter's bedroom, which featured lots more antiques and again, strangely felt to me like a home away from home. Maybe because it featured this traditional oak wardrobe. No, surely not. Perhaps the traditional eider downs? Okay, stop it now. And then another quick shout out to this gorgeous fireplace before my mum asked me a very valid question.
Would you live here?
Yes.
Me too.
You bought it me?
Have I bought it, you? I'm not earning that much on YouTube yet. And after the stark realisation that I'm not a social media millionaire, we headed to the 3rd floor to visit William's bedroom. Now, you can definitely see that parts of the wallpaper have become really tired over time, but let's be honest, would you have the heart to change it? Now, William's bedroom was my favourite because it seemed really light and airy, but I did find out that the reason the rest of the house was quite dark is because they have to keep the blinds down to preserve the furniture inside. And then, lo and behold, I recognised another very familiar scene. And then me and my mum decided to listen to some memories of people talking about what the straws were truly like. I think this is their shop. And bless her, did she go on. And then we headed to the absolutely stunning garden. And the great thing about the straws is that they enjoyed growing cacti, and you could actually purchase cacti of your very own. This garden was truly a hidden sanctuary with apple trees and lots of plants and outhouses, and led all the way to Mr. Straw's very own greenhouse, which featured his very own cacti. This is honestly the most beautiful timepiece. Like, the way that everything has been so lovingly preserved by the family members and the community. Like, it's, I'm so tempted to want to like move in and make it all livable, which would mean, you know, replacing a lot of the wallpaper, or, you know, at least refurbishing it. But in a way, it's kind of charming because it's completely untouched, and that just makes it just a timepiece. It's really amazing. I feel like I'm walking in the footsteps of this family, and they sound pretty cool. And after a pot of tea and naming our cacti William and Walter, we reflected on the incredibly extraordinary and incredibly normal life of this family, and how wonderful it was to see a glimpse of it.